As we initiate chaos theory guarantees that we'll play like lightning shots, sounding like thunder. For every time in the face that it hits us, we're faster. Well, they should know by now. They see the world keeps trying to shake us. It only waits us. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings. It's in a beautiful darkness. Only another. It's full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. All about the Petty Express. Misdirected from the start. It's a runaway train. Come on, freight train. I come a freight train. In a beautiful darkness, the Petty Express. In a beautiful
Hello everyone, welcome to Mo in the Deep End on the Petty Express, and we are covering Lori Vallow, though we are keeping our eyes peeled because the James Craig deadly dentist case is supposed to be starting in Colorado, and that's going to be wild. One of the attorneys is in jail, and another one of his attorneys decided to drop the case because he was trying to maybe Sarah Boone finagle some, well, not so legal defenses into his case. So we are keeping our eyes peeled on that one, but currently we are going to go through day 6 and see what this absolute Muppet is going to do. Lori has never failed to deliver on the stupid and crazy, so let's jump into this. I do have closed captions on and at 1.25 speed because this is express, sort of, if I don't pause a lot. It's not particularly a squirrely day, but it could become one.
The defendant's present. This is a time
It's the
set
damn
to
baby
discuss a few of the
ponytail.
motions before we bring in the jury at about 10:15.
Judge, I do have one other thing to raise that goes back to what we dealt with yesterday. Apparently, Ms. Vallow also attempted service on another one of the next of kin in Louisiana, Larry Woodcock. Again, that information, including his address, which she should not have access to, and in violation of victims' rights and the Arizona Constitution, was filed with the clerk's office. So we have multiple people.
Lori doing bad things because she feels completely justified doing them, even though they're against the law or, well, procedure. I mean, I'm shocked, just shocked. Oh, Squabob, thank you for your Modly Mod duties. Also, be on the lookout as soon as I get in my room. Mr. Mo is creating my vanity right now. We will have a Lori Vallow, Sarah Boone meetup. They're going to be roommates, and oh my gosh, it's going to be hilarious. I just have to get into my room.
That she's subpoenaing that are not on her 15.2, that she's violating victims' rights for. So I'm going to ask, of course, the court seal that subpoena as well, since it includes his address.
All right, it's ordered sealing any subpoena that was filed relating to Larry Woodcock. Do you have outstanding subpoenas on next of kin or, well, let's start with there, next of kin?
Let me check, Your Honor.
Oh, is she going to blame her private
Not, Your Honor,
detective?
but not that we're aware of.
As to the extent that you have subpoenas for next of kin on either of your cases, you need to coordinate the service of those subpoenas through the county attorney's office. They can facilitate in that and getting those people served if they are indeed witnesses that have relevant information in these cases.
And both of those people, Your Honor, Robert Vallow and Larry Woodcock, were not on my list and were not intended to be subpoenaed. So it was an oversight.
So I don't know how OPDS got that information to serve them subpoenas. So
They are-
someone on your team needs to double check with OPDS that the correct people are being subpoenaed.
And Your Honor, they are signed by the defendant. So
All right.
she is the one who's signing those.
She's like, I have no idea. It was an auto pen, I promise.
subpoenas. She is the one acting as counsel. So she is the one asking to send those out.
So how was it an oversight?
I just signed them all and we got them prepared and I signed them all and I did not check them. It's my own fault. But I apologize to the families.
So do you know the names of all the people you subpoenaed, or you just signed a stack of subpoenas?
I did sign the stack, but I thought I was aware of that they were the ones that I had asked to subpoena.
For this trial or for the next one as well?
Just for this one, we haven't done our subpoenas yet for the next trial.
That's right. And for the next trial, I need you to be more diligent in what you're signing. And if there is a subpoena for someone who is a next of kin or a victim under the Victim's Bill of Rights, the subpoena that needs to be coordinated through county attorney's office, or is there a victim representative attorney? I haven't had one yet.
There is not a victim representative attorney, so it would come through us, Your Honor.
Okay. We sort of addressed the motion in limine yesterday about the questioning of any police personnel regarding the timing of the arrest, why the investigation took as long as it did, who was or wasn't arrested. Again, I'll ask the defendant, if you think those are questions that you need to ask, please ask to take a break first, but otherwise I'm expecting you to not ask those types of questions of any witness. We then have let's take up the Janice Cox and Summer Shiflett video. You've had a chance to review that?
I did.
What's your position on the state's motion?
Your Honor, I obviously think that it should not be precluded, that it is evidence in fact of why that happened on July 11th, that it happened. So if there had been no bat, there would have been no gun. It was a reason why self-defense.
Do what now? You're going to invite your crazy family to do a hostage video to exonerate you? No, that is not how that is. And yes, Northwest, we are still on Charles' trial, day 6. And no, you're Summer Shiflett and, other people that are related to you coming to your defense is not evidence of anything but a family's love and willingness to overlook glaringly obvious sus things.
Was even an issue on that day on July 11th.
Let me make sure I understand the state's position correctly. The state hasn't seen the actual video that these two witnesses have watched.
Correct. It
Right.
apparently.
So
was-
absent someone coming in and introducing the actual video into evidence, which could have its own evidentiary issues, but absent that, they can't testify in court about things they saw on a video because it's hearsay. They're testifying to things that they observed outside of court, and there's no verification, no way to cross-examine on that. So my ruling would be that unless some video comes in and someone lays foundation for that video, that no witness would be allowed to discuss what they saw, heard, or viewed in that video.
So is this ruling going to be something that Lori was talking about with Nate Eaton? And God bless Nate Eaton, because he had to sit next to crazy and not want to, I don't know, shake the crazy out of her. Anywho, I wonder if this particular motion is lumped into all the things she feels like she was martyred on in these particular trials. This is not out of the realm of anything that is normal. You can't bring in a video of people talking about another video. It's hearsay. So again, this is going to probably be one of the things that she is noticing in her, attempts to get a new, oh, for the love of all that is Cheetos. Of course she did. I just need 80 more hours in a day, and then I can cover all of these things. Or just be a little more organized, which could help everything.
All right. Then we have the state's third motion to preclude defendant's witnesses. Let's discuss. I'm going to ask you again, Ms. Daybell, how do you pronounce the first person's name? Vaisa?
Vicia.
Has your team or your investigator, anyone been able to locate that person?
Oh, look at her playing lawyer.
I would have to check with my investigator, Your Honor.
What about Gabriel Bonilla?
I know that he has made contact several times with Gabriel. I don't know if he has interviewed him, but I know that he's made contact with him several times.
Do you know if he's been served with a subpoena?
We're looking that up now.
Lori, I don't know if you know how trials work, but this is generally stuff done before trials. Having, your witness list be nebulous and trying to find people is a very Darrell Brooks kind of move. I'm surprised you didn't ask the state of Arizona to stand up because, a person can't, or a state can't bring a suit against you, but a person can. So will Arizona please stand up? Please stand up.
Okay.
For the love
that
of
Gabe
Lemmy
Bonilla,
Winks.
OPDS, several times tried to serve that subpoena and it has not been served. And I'm not sure on the Barry Cox.
All right, well, as was indicated by the state yesterday, they may be resting their case in chief sometime Thursday, at the latest Monday. So you're kind of out of time on producing these witnesses for interview. I shouldn't say you're kind of out of time, you are out of time. I don't know that I need to effectively preclude them because you haven't been able to serve them or get them to appear, in which case they wouldn't be called as witnesses. In the event that they are served or surfaced, we'd still need to have a discussion of whether they have any relevant information and whether they should still be precluded because of the late disclosure of what that testimony might be. So unless they're produced to the state for an interview here within the next day or two, they would be effectively precluded. Even if they are produced for an interview, they still could be precluded. Zachary Cox, let's talk about Zachary Cox. Has he been subpoenaed? The state has interviewed that witness apparently, but based on their motion, they don't believe he has any relevant information to offer for this trial. Do you believe he has relevant information to offer?
I do, Your Honor.
And what is that?
He was with my brother, Adam Cox, that day on the 11th and was in communication with Adam and Charles during that day and prior to that day.
What?
So Zachary Cox is Adam's son, the only normal Cox to have come out of that family that I can ascertain. So they were probably all in, kind of talking with Charles, trying to get something done so Lori's cray-cray could be, well, figured out and taken care of.
Testimony would he offer that would be admissible, that would be relevant to either self-defense or this did or didn't occur?
He would be able to testify about what Adam already testified to, verify it or unverify it,
What specifically?
about what their itinerary was during that day and the day before and the following day.
But they're not on trial.
When did this, well, the state interviewed this witness?
Obviously, I had no idea what he would be called about, so I talked to him for a few minutes.
Did he have any idea what he would be called about?
No,
All
I
right.
think unless the defendant says that he's relevant to impeach Adam in some way, then I don't really understand the relevant. I mean, she just said that he could be testify to verify what Adam said. So she's going to call him to confirm that what Adam said was correct.
Is that he would be confirming what Adam said, or would he be disputing what Adam said? What specifically? Can you give me some more specifics?
From his interview with my investigator, he would be disputing what Adam said.
Well, then I'm not aware of that interview with my understanding in interviewing the defense Jeff White, is that basically they spoke for a brief time. It got heated.
Who's
and
they?
Jeff White and Zachary Cox. They did not have a full interview, is my understanding. I've not been provided with a recording of that, but in my discussion, my interview of Jeff White as a potential witness, he advised just that that Zach had advised that he had lived with them, meaning Charles and Lori, prior to them moving into this house, prior to them being separated. And that's about the extent of what I understood their interview to be. But maybe Mr. White can provide information as to how he.
Mr. White, do you have any information on, you interviewed Zachary Cox?
Yes.
All right. And did Mr. Cox provide information that would be relevant to this trial to you?
When I spoke to Mr. Cox, he was, in short, he was very belligerent. When we had spoken, I was asking about.
Let's see. The crazy aunt who took out your cousins and her husband and her, Chad Dorkbell's wife. Yeah, I could imagine being belligerent, having to be associated in any way with this woman, and then her trying to use me as a defense witness. Yeah, I'd be belligerent.
Information about his father and him, as well as with Charles. The information that I did obtain from him did not agree with what his father had told me in the interview through the state.
His father being,
Adam.
do you know if Zachary Cox has been served a subpoena?
As far as I know, I think that went through OPDS.
All right. I guess we'll see if he actually gets served and shows up at court. He may not, in which case it's not an issue I need to deal with. But if he does show up, we will need to flesh out whether he has relevant information, whether he should be allowed to testify. All right, who's the state going to be calling today?
Your Honor, at the state, obviously, we still have a witness on the stand. And then, as I advised, we'll be calling Ariel Werther. And then we would call Detective Duncan. So we
Okay.
may finish tomorrow, Your Honor.
Okay. My staff just signaled me that we're, the last juror did just show up. Okay, we'll bring the jury in. Let's have that witness come back up.
I will say I found this judge to be incredibly thoughtful. He is willing to research, listen to Lori. He does try to help her, but not in the sort of maternal coddling way that Judge Mommy did with Darrell Brooks. And he is holding her to a standard to which she does not measure up because she's not a lawyer. But he is trying to be fair and, the kind of non-biased, goalkeeper that he's supposed to be. And I do like that he takes the time to try to get some of these things fleshed out before the jury comes in, unlike Aunt Bev, who, just tells the jury to be in at 8:30. They don't start till like 9:15. So I do like that. I do like the respect for the jury. I think that he has been a really good judge, despite what Lori claims in all of her, I want a new trial, I deserve a new trial. Judge Bersky has been on it, and, she is just off her rocker. Now we're going to be starting with the long-haired detective that was on the last stream. She is continuing to testify today. So we're probably going to have more, just general talk about the investigation, why things happened, who got, who did parts of the investigation, who didn't do it, that kind of thing.
Go ahead and resume your cross.
Oh Lord, I forgot. We've got, Timu lawyer Barbie on with the baby ponytail. Again, the baby ponytail just kills me. I don't understand it. But let's continue with Lori's cross. I'm sure it will be excellente, just like her green chili enchiladas of caucasity. Okay, come on, Lori, you can do it. Put a little legal to it.
Detective England, yesterday we were talking about the chain of custody of the phone, so I have a couple questions on that. Yesterday we talked about that Charles' phone went from your hands to the property room, is that correct?
No.
Okay. Where did it,
When I explained to you, it's our computer crimes division, the
Okay.
detectives that do the downloads. Our property room is about a mile away from the police department.
okay. So it went from your hands to the computer crimes division, is that correct?
Correct. We usually take phones directly to them.
And how long was that between the time you left the house and you delivered that phone to them?
It's about 20-minute drive or so, and then just to the PD and upstairs to where their office is.
Okay. And who did you turn that over to at the computer crimes division?
Sergeant Olness was the sergeant of the unit at the time.
And did you use the passcode to access the phone at all?
I did not. I don't do downloads or exams of devices.
Okay. Did you look to see?
Lori has that incredibly annoying vocal tick that I've noticed a lot of women my age have. My age is undisclosed for legal and, well, ego purposes. But that annoying where we lift our voice inflection at the end of a sentence to make it sound like we're always asking a question. It comes from this, I don't know if women try to be more agreeable, so they, couch their statements, their declarative statements as questions in order to not, be seen as confrontational. But it really is annoying because as a person who tends to focus in on audio cues, I'm always expecting a question, and it bothers the ever living snot out of me. But she does have that vocal inflection where she pitches just a little bit higher at the end of the sentence, making it sound like a question, even when it's a declarative statement. And it pisses me off.
See if the threatening text messages from Charles did actually exist.
I did not do an exam of the phone.
Yesterday, we watched the clip of my interview with you, and we discussed the threatening text messages. Is that correct?
Correct, you told me about them.
And you stated that I did not show them to you. Is that correct?
You did not show them to me, no.
And did you ask me to show them to you?
I did not.
Had I been cooperative all that day?
Yes.
Do you think I would have shown them to you if you would have asked me?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
You're doing great,
Was
Lori.
Tylee also cooperative that day?
I believe so.
Was Alex cooperative that day
I don't know. I did not have contact with Alex.
at all?
I did not interview him or talk to him, no.
Did I, in fact, inform you during that interview that I would have to show you them to explain them?
I believe so.
And
But you
yet
never asked me to
didn't.
show them to you?
I did not.
Lori, you're not a victim here. You're not a martyr. Things don't happen around you that are bad. You have been the instigating force in everything that's bad around you, and you have just as much agency to take this little phone dealie here and say, look, here's the messages. Let me just, pull them up. It's not that hard. If you had wanted to, if you had had this set up with all of these bad, examples of Charles being aggressive and belligerent to you, you would have shown her, because your MO is to be the martyr and the, victim in everything. So you didn't have those ready to go, is what I'm gathering and speculating. You didn't have any threatening text, so you had to imply that they were there. And my guess is they were simple texts like, I'm going to be here to, sorry, I'm going to say Rowan Varheit. No, the W is an F, so it's Fairheit, right? If I'm wrong, I am very sorry. I should not be in charge of anything that has the ability to, pronunciate. But therein lies the problem. She didn't have them manufactured, in my opinion.
Did you ever request that I turn my phone over to you?
I did not.
Did you ever request that Tylee turn her phone over to you?
I did not.
Those would require search warrants, you numpty.
In the course of your investigation, did you ever, in fact, see those threatening messages from Charles to me?
I did not. I did not look at any of the downloads of any of the phones.
Or in the reports or anything?
No.
You never came across those?
I did not review those reports or do any of the downloads of any of the phones.
You didn't review any of Detective Duncan's reports?
No.
None of Detective Moffat's reports?
No.
Okay. Were you aware of the reason why I had two phones at the time?
I was not.
Did you ask?
Because you were carrying on an affair? I mean, it's not that hard. Or you wanted to pretend to be Miami Vice or, Walter White from Breaking Bad. I really don't care why you have a burner phone.
Me?
No, I wasn't aware you had two phones.
In the course of your investigation, did you ever learn that Charles had stolen my phone, so I had to replace it?
Object to testifying and move to strike.
Sustained.
Your Honor, it's all part of the investigation.
So what Lori is completely not understanding, and it is hard if you're just, starting to watch trials, there are a lot of foundational witnesses. So witnesses who basically, I took the phone and I gave it to the phonologist. But because of, chain of custody and having to lay foundation, these witnesses come in and yes, they basically testify to, I did X, Y, and Z, or Z, depending on who you ask. I still think zebra is weird, but I think it's a zebra, but we can still maintain peace. That being said, what she doesn't understand is that this is a foundational witness. Now, if she wanted to ask a sort of comprehensive case question, she should wait to the end to the, lead detective. What she's basically doing here is asking lead detective questions to a foundational witness who basically, look, I took an interview. This is what I did. I handed the phone over, but I didn't, go over that. I didn't do that. These were the extent of my, responsibilities and duties on this case. So Lori is confused. It would probably have been better for her if she had someone who I don't know went to legal school, but I mean, we wouldn't get pro se Lori, Timu, Barbie.
Sustained its testimony. The form of the question was testimony.
Were you aware that after he gave it back to me that I kept both phones?
I'm going to again object.
Sustained.
Come on, Lori,
Detective,
you
in the
can
course
do
of your
it.
investigation, did you learn that Charles had a $2 million life insurance policy on me?
I knew there was a life insurance policy. I don't know the amount.
Did you ever see it in any of the reports or,
I did not review, and I was not part of that portion of the investigation.
and you never saw that on any kind of Bates numbers?
I'm going to object again to asked and answered.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You didn't see it on any kind of Bates numbers?
No, Bates would be what the county attorney does. That's after me, so I didn't review that portion of the report.
Okay.
Oh, that okay she does just, like when you hear one of those, okay, they're called singing bowls. I call them the screaming of the damned tortured souls plus cats in the dryer. But that, okay, like that is a Lori screw you. That is a Lori F you, in my opinion. She says it with such smugliness and derision in that princess voice that it's nails on a chalkboard up my spine. It's just like, oh, where is Will Smith when you need him? Like he could become an avenger of justice, an asshole avenger, if you will, if he would just take his talents and deal with these monstrous people for us. Allegedly in Minecraft. Ooh, someone's getting angry. She's flipping them papers sassy. She's spicy like her enchiladas. Come on, Lori. Come today, Junior.
Direct, you said that, or during our discussion, you said that we arrived at the Chandler Police Station and that we were taken into the Family Advocacy Center. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, the FAC, or Family Advocacy Center.
Okay. And was that just Tylee and myself that were taken to that part of the station?
I believe so, yes.
And so was Alex taken to the regular part of the police station?
He was in a different portion in an interview room in the persons crime section downstairs.
Okay. So we were taken into 3 different rooms, is that correct, when we arrived?
3 different interview rooms, yes.
And that's really standard. Again, when investigating a crime, they don't want the witnesses to contaminate each other. They want to, address the veracity of the claims or the story and make sure all the witnesses independently tell the same sort of story in order to kind of corroborate in between. Now, it took a long time, and I do hope that the lead investigating detectives will explain the time gap between this looking all the damn sus and them finally arresting Lori. So that would be helpful. But as to right now, yes, this is kind of normal standard operating procedure, Lori.
And we were all 3 interviewed, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
And no worries. Sorry for being out of the loop. Are we rewatching Cult Mom, or is this a new case involving Cult Mom? This is the first of her 2 pro se cases. This is the one for Charles Vallow. and then I'll be moving on to the Brandon Boudreaux. She has been convicted of both of these cases. She was found guilty, but she has filed appeals for a new trial in both cases. So it really isn't clear how those are going to be ruled on. Now, I will state I am not a lawyer, not a lawyer. And thank you, Sarah Adams, for all things petty. I am here for it. Where is my pen? I'm trying to slowly organize all my stuff that I have taken over Mr. Moe's room, and so he can have his room back. And I'm finding I am more chaotic than I ever thought I was, which, to be fair, is an achievement in and of itself, because I thought I was a, chaos person to begin with. Thank you so much. But it is a slow process of appeals. They're going to have to do a lot of things, and I doubt seriously that any of her appeals are going to go through. Now, I will say on the Brandon Boudreaux trial, her appeal, there is particularly a concerning bit for me as far as the head CSI person that collected the DNA in Brandon's Jeep was fired for contaminating a scene or something of that line about 3 months later. So there could be called into question the validity and or the sort of chain of custody professionalism in the DNA that was collected in the Brandon Boudreaux case. As far as I have seen, that's the only valid thing that I think Lori has put forward. Again, not a lawyer. Watch real lawyers to know the real difference.
And you interviewed me, is that correct?
I did.
And you also interviewed Tylee, is that correct?
I did.
And Detective Moffat is the one that interviewed Alex, is that correct?
I believe so.
And these interviews were all video and audio recorded, is that correct?
I believe so.
And did you have a supervisor or superior there at the Chandler Police Station watching these interviews live from a viewing room?
Not a supervisor.
Who was it?
Lori, you're not that damn important. This is not Hannibal, one of my favorite shows, not gonna lie. Mads Mikkelsen, I don't know why, but you made Hannibal really attractive, and I don't know what that says about me. Also, I don't like rude people, so I'm kind of pro Hannibal sometimes, but don't tell nobody. Any hoosel. This is not Hannibal Lecter. We are not getting Lawrence Fishburne and Will Graham and Clarice, in to try to behaviorally analyze you. This is not what happens. This is a sort of routine thing. Again, it shouldn't be routine. Murder shouldn't be, but, accidental deaths with firearms are not out of, the realm of possibility. Self-defense isn't out of the realm of possibility. And this is standard procedure, you absolute bin bag of a dumb woman.
There was a detective in sex crimes that was monitoring the interviews in the Family Advocacy Center. It's kind of standard, particularly the fact that Tylee was alone in the interview room at some point. So she was monitoring both interviews. And I don't know if there was anybody monitoring Detective Moffat's interview because I was not a part of that.
Okay. And what was her name? Detective what?
Ashley Nolan.
And then you said that you didn't go in and monitor during the interview with Detective Moffat and Alex? You didn't watch that one?
No, it was going on at the same time. I couldn't interview you and Tylee and monitor at the same time.
And then that means that Detective Duncan wasn't monitoring yours either at the same time, correct?
I don't know what Detective Duncan was doing.
I meant Detective Moffat, I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know. I believe he was talking to Alex, but
But he could have been monitoring yours and then talked to Alex after that, is that correct?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Were there other people in this monitoring room that you know of?
I believe Detective Nolan was monitoring from her desk as the sex crimes detectives work within the Family Advocacy Center. They're in the same portion of the building.
Okay. So they can just monitor from their desk?
Correct.
They're not in like a separate room, is what you're saying?
No, there's a monitoring room.
This is not freaking CSI or, this is not Law and Order, you absolute ridiculous woman. I don't know what you are watching on TV, but dun dun dun, Law and Order this is not this. For the love of all that is freaking flamin' flapjacks.
From upstairs in the dedicated suspect interview rooms, but none of those rooms were used in.
Joe Schmo says Tammy Lachek was the investigator who collected evidence from Tylee's Jeep after Alex drove it to Arizona, then back to Rexburg. Curious on your thoughts on Judge B not officially releasing the jury in the public. Since I haven't gotten to that part, I don't know. And this might be a case where, again, with all the notoriety of Lori, he wanted to give the jurors the choice to, kind of reveal their identities or not. We've seen what's happened to the Karen Reed jurors, kind of the, media hype and derision and weird people on X trying to dox them and, call the Child Protective Agency on their kids and all these other crazy things that is going on. So maybe that was part of his sort of reasoning. Since this is a rewatch, I can't remember how close to the Karen Reed stuff coming out was, but this might have been because it's such a notable case. It's, it could have been something he was trying to do as a courtesy. I'm not sure.
These 3 interviews that you're talking about.
Okay. And after these interviews were complete, who decided to send us home?
Well, I decided to
Jesus.
drive you guys back to the house.
And who gave you authorization to release us, I guess?
Me.
And thank you, Unbalanced Equation, for the £2 for the church collection plate. Thank you so much. I will say that we were able to save up and get a lot of things for the room on Prime Day, which Mr. Mo is having to work on. He's currently putting together my vanity, which I have never had a girly vanity. I didn't know that girls spent this much time on their makeup, but now having a nice place to sit down to do it is going to be awesome sauce. I'm so excited. Everything is supposed to be in today, so he can, in theory, look at all of the IKEA-esque instructions and try to put them together. Now, according to Mr. Mo, he said that the instructions were really good and it's solidly built. So I picked out whatever good. I don't know. Poor guy, he's sitting on the floor like with instructions, and he's not crying or cursing or drinking whiskey like normally I am. So he seems to be doing okay.
You didn't have to talk to a superior for that?
No.
And what about Alex? Who released him?
That would be Detective Moffat was involved in this
Satan.
interview. I was not.
So did you and Detective Moffat have a discussion on what to do next after our interviews were complete?
Briefly, that we were done with the interviews and that at this
Okay, Joe Schmo said I sort of said release the jury from their admonition on the record, not in public. My bad. Yeah, I do remember she made a point of this in her motion for a new trial. And again, Sarah, when you are a detective, you are somewhat autonomous. Yes, you do have a higher up that you have to run things through, but a detective has to be somewhat autonomous and able to make situational kind of choices on, disparate scenes. So she doesn't have to talk to her manager, although I'm sure you're going to try to subpoena her manager. I'd like to speak to the manager of the police because they were mean to me.
point, whether or not to get you back to the house and how we were going to facilitate that.
Okay, but it was decided at that time that we would be brought back together and taken in the van to back to the house and dropped off?
It was the easiest way to get the 3 of you back at the same time.
Are you aware of the press release that was issued by Chandler Police Department later that day?
I am not.
You never read it?
I don't.
She's not the
You never heard
media
about it in the course of your
person.
investigation?
The press release?
Yeah.
No.
You never discussed it with any of the other detectives?
I would object. She's asked and answered.
Sustain.
Lori, no one cares about you that much. I know that you think that we are all sitting in bi-weekly Lori, we hate Lori meetings and to conspiratize against you in league with, I think, Satan and Kevin Spacey to destroy your life until Jesus comes back in Bruce Almighty 2 and saves you from the Noah's Ark. But no, none of us really care about you that much. So we don't do bi-weekly meetings except to make fun of you. And by that, we're kind of okay. Oh no, I'm a chaos lower level weirdo. I am not a deity at all.
Would the case agent have to be the one who would authorize that at the time?
It depends. As a case agent, we would like to have input or influence on what a press release is or states, but occasionally they're published by our PIO, our press information officer.
So do you know if Detective Moffat was the case agent at the time, is that correct?
He was.
And so do you know if he talked to the PIO and put that out, or if he didn't know?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Do you know if the PIO agent just put it out?
Objection, she doesn't know about this.
Do you know?
I have no idea.
Detective England, yesterday, the prosecutor asked you several times, why didn't Lori just give the phone back? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you learn in your investigation that the entire altercation only lasted a few minutes?
That'd be a fair assessment.
Because we discussed that in our interview, is that correct?
We did.
So from the time Tyler came out with the bat and I ran outside is maybe less than 2 minutes? We discussed that, is that correct?
We discussed that it probably happened in a short amount of time. I don't think we gave a specific time amount to what happened, but that it happened in a relatively short amount of time.
We didn't say that was like 1 to 2 minutes, like,
That was our discussion, yes.
yeah, that was our discussion. Okay. So we would not have been arguing for a very long time, is that correct?
I think it's relative as to how long you've been arguing.
Well, so here is the big thing that I find incredibly unbelievable about Lori's story. Okay, Lori wants us to go into this story, this narrative, this, what happened that day with her deep fear of Charles. He's sending threatening messages. He's trying to steal my phone. He's, trying to do all of these underhanded things and take me to the bishop and take away my temple recommend. So you would assume that Lori would be frightened, would be appeasing, would be, walking on eggshells around Charles, not stealing his phone to the point he gets agitated and, is chasing her around the house to the point where Tylee brings out a bat. This does not make sense. If she was truly afraid of him, she wouldn't have antagonized him. She would have wanted him out of his house, or out of her house. She would have, probably overthought, if Alex is going to be here, is that going to, trigger Charles? Wanting to get him out of the house would have been paramount. Wanting to kind of keep the kids from any sort of blow up would be paramount if this really happened. It didn't happen. I think she stole his phone, and Alex was there as soon as he walked in. Basically, I think it was an absolute ambush, in my opinion. And thank you, Unbalanced Equation, for gifting a membership to the Church of Mo. There was my phone. And as soon as it is Forever Not Me. So if you're lurking, Forever Not Me, you got a membership. And thank you, Unbalanced. You are welcome to the Church of Mo. We have dark chocolate, sarcasm, and true crime. It's kind of the best thing ever. All right, let's
Or how long the
continue.
altercation took.
Detective, in the course of your investigation, did you learn that JJ was outside in the car?
I did.
Did you learn that the car was still running?
I don't know.
Did you learn that JJ was in fact in the front seat?
I know that you had articulated he was put into the car, but I don't remember if you specifically said the front seat, but he was in the car.
Did you learn in the course of your investigation that JJ had autism?
Yes, you told me about that.
Did you verify that at his school?
I did speak with his school, yes.
When did you speak with the school?
During the course of the investigation, I had contact with the school in reference to when he attended and generally kind of the services the school provides.
And thank you so much again, Unbalanced Equation, for dark chocolate. Love it. I will say, a lot of sweet things haven't been tasting the greatest. So dark chocolate is actually really good because it has a little bit of the bitterness to kind of take away the overwhelming sweetness of some. Again, y'all, this has been a whole, I'm like Aladdin and Jasmine. It's a whole new world. I have no idea what things are going to taste like, even things that I've liked for forever and 12 days, like symphony bars, way too sweet. Milk chocolate is not my friend anymore, but dark chocolate definitely is. So symphony, if you could make a dark chocolate bar, that would be super awesome. That is all.
Do you remember who you spoke to at the school at all?
The director of the school, and then subsequently, there were a couple teachers that provided some information.
And how long after July 11th was that first communication with the school?
It was several months later.
But during the course of this investigation, the Chandler Police Department did verify, I guess, that next day that that was, in fact, his school and he did attend there. Is that correct?
I believe so.
During this investigation, did you verify that we did, in fact, go through Burger King?
So it looks like kind of, it reminds me of a throwback 90s or early aughts kind of patterned with greens and purples. It's just, it's not attractive, but what would you expect for a person wearing a human shirt? Love it. Oh, dang it, real life. I hate it. But I don't know about you guys, but the amount of shut the hell up that I get when Lori is trying to bandy about Tylee or JJ and how she's a great mom, how she's suffered, how he has autism. It's just so incredibly off-putting and disgusting to me when I know what she allowed to happen to her children and probably orchestrated. The fact that she is using their names and saying anything really does make me wish Will Smith would, as his Hollywood career has tanked, come back and do a public service, because get their names out your mouth, ma'am.
I did not, but it was verified.
Were you aware of what we ordered at Burger King?
You told me it was chicken fries and Sprite.
Had you seen, you hadn't seen that receipt?
I had not.
Okay. I guess that was, in fact, in the,
Well, I guess if she had gotten nuggets, guilty. Chucky, no. We are not bringing back women who wear shoulder pads. As a woman who is built like a young feminine Janet Reno in the shoulders, I need no help with shoulders. I really don't. But you know what? I am totally cool with everyone doing their own thing. So if you would like to bring back shoulder pads, have at it. I'm just not going to be wearing them, and I will cut them out of any garment that, comes with them. I already have linebacker shoulders. I don't need help. Also, chicken fries are the bomb with some ranch dressing. I know you guys are all shocked, but I love ranch dressing. I am from the Midwest. Although I am a Hidden Valley girl, not a Kraft. I know there's a divide. Hidden Valley is good, Kraft is disgusting.
portion of one of the interviews that we watched yesterday. Is that correct?
Correct. You told me that in the interview.
So were you aware that we also ordered 2 bottles of water?
I was not aware, no.
And in your experience with people in stressful situations, when adrenaline kicks in, does it make you incredibly thirsty?
I don't object to speculation or no.
No, that's when the gummies kick in, and then you want granola bars or any candy. I mean, I don't know. I would never know about that, so who knows? But I have heard that the devil's lettuce will give you, a cotton mouth.
If she knows.
It's also era-fucking-zona.
It can.
And when you're in fight or flight mode, does your adrenaline kick in your experience?
I'm going to object here to knowledge and found.
Unbalanced equation, you have moved up to Deacon because you have correctly guessed the best gummy company in the world, Haribo. That is the best gummy. I will say, so as a junk food connoisseur. In fact, a person who's generally most of her life been able to do the truffle shuffle with her belly. I can tell you that Haribo gummy bears are denser and more substantial, whereas every other gummy bear out there, the other ones are just too soft. So if you like an erect gummy bear, Haribo. If you like a soft, one second. Longer arms. And in my opinion, the red Haribo is the best. We could throw out the green. No one likes the green. I don't want it. But red and yellow, when they have those Valentine packages, oh, hell yes, Mo is stocking up for the apocalypse. It's not the latex human covered bear, but you know, it's a cute bear. All right. What is this heifer saying?
Foundation as to her knowledge of this?
I'll sustain the objection.
Did you offer Tylee and I apple juice at the Chandler Police Station?
I think I offered you something to drink and what we typically would have.
Sarah, I just put out a video, but I covered I think either Monday or Tuesday, but there was a horror doll, I guess, maker who has latex human looking stitched. It is like out of a Ed Gein crafting show or possibly Buffalo Bill. But apparently someone left one of these latex bears outside of a convenience store in LA, and they were worried that they had a Buffalo Bill Ed Gein love child person making human teddy bears. I did a video on it. Now, can I say that I need to check out this store because they do have, you know, those little letter blocks that kids play with? Well, they may have a male member on top of a block that has a C on it, and it may be a C block, and I may want it immensely. But I do realize that it would probably end up going to show and tell with my youngest, most feral, and I would have to explain to teachers at a Shiite Christian school why he had a male member cock block, if you will. So while I really, really want one because, oh my God, the hilarity, I realized that it would in no way engender goodness in my home.
There.
Did you offer that for the purpose that adrenaline makes you thirsty?
No, I usually do it to people I interview if they'd like something to drink while they're there.
Detective Inkland, have you ever seen me not calm?
I would object to maybe foundation as to when.
Well, I've seen you be a cunt. Does that count? Question from the jury.
All right, sustain, lay more foundation on when she has, what occasions she has had to observe you.
Well, yesterday, you spoke often of my calm demeanor, my nonchalantness. Is that correct?
Correct.
So has
You were talking about a GD pool party when your your soon-to-be ex-husband just got shot and your brother did it. Not to mention your children were near the area. Thank you so much. Mr. Mo is going to be like, why? This is going to be another one of those occasions where Mr. Mo enters the room, takes a good look around, and then walks right back out and just is glad that I keep my crazy in my room. But I'm here for it. And thank you so much, Unbalanced Equation. I definitely need a fund for that, although he's not going to like it when I start showing it to him every occasion. That being said, I will, because y'all know me.
there ever been an occasion when you have seen me when I was not calm?
Again, foundation as to when she has seen her on July 11th.
Please clarify the time frame you're referring to where she had an opportunity to observe you.
Any other time, Your Honor?
For example, how many hours on July?
Can we have a sidebar? Can I ask you a question?
Oh, Lori's taking a break. She's asking a real lawyer. The real lawyer's going to tell her she's a dork. And I love this detective. She's like, damn, I shouldn't have stopped drinking today. I will say I really like the green on her. I think she would do great with bold colors. I'm not so much, again, so here's what happens with shoulder pads to whoever said it. Now, if you're a bit, let's say, chonkular, if you're slightly fluffy and deflating, it makes you look, it just doesn't make a good look. I think she could do without the shoulder pads, but I have a visceral hate for them. So that would always be my first step in a makeover, is to cut out shoulder pads. But it does kind of give a really weird line here. If it's tighter on your upper arm and the shoulder pad doesn't lay right. That being said, I think she would look good if she got a solid dark green blazer of any kind with less structure and no shoulder pads. But again, I have a visceral hate for shoulder pads, so I would take them out of anything. Lori's asking a question and phoning a friend. Who wants to be not convicted? Today we have Lori Vallow, and she's phoning a friend, telling her she should have called a lawyer. Well, unbalanced, there are things that are intrinsic in someone. I do now. My mom has a better one. I am trying to be like her. She's my Yoda. But resting bee face is something you just have. I can't look. No amount of Maybelline or Sephora is going to stop a resting bee face. That being said, maybe having to deal with Lori makes her not want to smile. Oh God, what dumbassery is she coming up with now? I mean, let's continue.
Detective Inkland, did you discover in your investigation that I had run outside without shoes?
Yes, kind of.
And did you learn in that
Cooperated only
investigation
by
that we
you?
had stopped at Walgreens and I did purchase 2 pairs of flip-flops?
Yeah, you told me that.
I mean, and that was verified later.
It was.
Okay, wait, Lori, let me make sense of this because I have not one foggy flapjack where you're going. So you're telling me, let me get this timeline straight. Charles comes in, you steal his phone, he starts going ballistic. You're walking around lording it over him like, I got your phone, I got your phone. Now he's getting irritated, but he hasn't laid hands on you. But Tylee comes out with a baseball bat. He takes the baseball bat. Alex comes out and tries to fight, but Charles is too strong and he gets him in the head. Now Charles, being a NPC Mortal Kombat player, just hangs out with this, bat in a sort of holding pattern while Alex goes and gets his force multiplier. Now, as soon as Alex is ready to engage again, he starts swinging the bat backhanded like a tennis racket, as you do, in the wrong hand because he forgot he was lefty. Now, after you didn't see the shots, but there were 2, so you had already taken the kids outside. So you run outside without flip-flops or anything on. Take the rental car to Burger King because that's important. Then you stop at Walgreens to get flip-flops. And then you call the police after you come home and everyone's gotten a snack because adrenaline makes you thirsty and not having shoes makes you feel weird. Also, how did you get into Walgreens shoeless? Because I'm pretty sure they have a sign that says no shirt, no shoes, no service. So also, ew, you walked barefooted in a Walgreens. Like the fact that you don't have gonorrhea syphilitis. Y'all, that is why I don't go on airplanes. Apart from the fact that I'm not going to the DMV to get this stupid new ID because the government issued me a marriage license. Why should I have to prove to them that I'm married? I know it's a principal point of a Dale Gribble, style, but I just fucking hate that. Anyhoozle. The part that I really hate about airports is that I have to take my shoes off. Even more so since I've gotten CRPS because the cold on the floor really, really bothers me. And most of the time I can't tolerate socks. So walking on a dirty, disgusting floor with a bunch of people that have already walked on it and experiencing increased pain because I have to take my freaking shoes off, it's a no-go. I'd rather drive. Not to mention Boeing's made me afraid of flying ever again.
By a different detective.
Okay. You didn't verify that at Walgreens or at Burger King, is that correct?
I did not. That was a different detective.
Okay. And as part of your investigation, did you view the video of me going into the Walgreens to purchase the flip-flops?
I did not.
Okay. And how hot was it that day on July 11th, 2019?
I hate to repeat myself, but it was Zona, so that you guys were probably melting trash cans on the pavement. Again, look, I know there are some people that love Arizona, love it, it's a dry heat or what have you, but when things are melting on pavement, that is a no-go for Mo. Like, also, have you met the palosity of me? Like, I would look like a lobster. There's just no way. I'd have to stay inside all day.
Warm.
Like in the hundreds?
July in Arizona. I'd say it was probably warm.
Would it have been difficult to walk JJ to his class on the cement with no shoes on, do you think?
Objection to relevance? Speculation.
Don't care if your
Sustained.
feet get
I think
burned.
the jury can draw their own conclusions about the temperature in Arizona in mid-July.
Detective, did you learn?
Oh, God bless this judge. Again, I hope someone got him like a big thing of cookies or muffins or booze after these 2 trials, because this man needs it.
In your investigation that after taking JJ to his classroom that Tylee and I headed straight back to the house?
I believe so.
And that we met with police, is that correct?
Correct. You
As soon as we
contacted
drove up, first contact was with,
Officer Krautheim.
yes, Krautheim. Okay, thank you. Detective, is it your understanding that we fully cooperated with the police?
You were cooperative with interviews with me.
That we did as we were instructed?
You, with me in your interview, you were cooperative.
And Tylee was cooperative with you as well, correct?
I believe so.
And that you had said yesterday that we were voluntarily interviewed by the police, is that correct?
Correct. You were not in custody.
Did we know that?
I believe so.
Yes, they would have told you you're not in custody, you're free to leave. It's when they tell you, hey, we need to read you your Miranda rights just for policy, that you as a suspect and you need to shut the hell up and get a lawyer. That being said, Lori has, well, the right to silence, but the ability not so much.
When we were placed in those interview rooms, did we know that we could just walk out and leave anytime? Was that explained to us, is my question.
You can ask that.
Can you say it again?
Was it explained to us at any time that we could just walk out of those interview rooms and leave if we had wanted to?
No.
Did I in fact ask you at one point if I could go to the ladies' room?
I believe so.
No
Detective,
worries,
did we
Joe.
answer
Get some
all the
stuff
questions
done.
asked to us by the police that day?
By me, yes, I believe so.
And we were dropped off at home by the police, is that correct?
Correct. I drove you back to the house.
And we were given no further instructions, is that correct?
Just that we would be in touch with you at the conclusion of the search warrant.
Is it also correct that we voluntarily handed over Charles' phone to you when you asked for it?
Yes.
Did we delay in that or just do it immediately?
You delayed in calling 911 to go to Burger King, drop off JJ, get flip-flops for some reason, and to probably go over everything in Charles's phone. So, no. And that is true, Michael Osbrook. Very often the cops don't let you know if you're in a custodial interview or just a witness sort of interview. And that's why you need lawyers. If you're a witness, if you're a suspect, get a lawyer.
No, you gave it to me when I asked.
Was there any time, Detective, on July 11th, 2019, that we did not comply or cooperate fully with the police in their investigation?
In my interaction with you, you were cooperative.
Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, what Lori is wanting is a wholesale, holistic, entire case kind of exoneration of her cooperation based on this one witness. Now, this one witness can only speak to the parts of the investigation that she covered. So while she can say that she was cooperative, it's not going to be for the entire trial. I get where Lori's going with this, but it's so unskillful and ham-fisted and kind of off tone that it doesn't work.
Redirect.
Now, so I will say this suit you can tell has shoulder pads, and it does give her a more professional look, but it also makes her incredibly masculine looking, in my opinion. Let me take me off the screen so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. But it does give her a very upper triangle look that we mostly look for in men. Now, I guess that power suits are coming back in, so be looking for those 80s tastic, power suits to come back, I guess. That is not Pam Bondi. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name, but this is the state's attorney.
I'm going to start with when you first arrived on scene. You were asked a lot yesterday when you first noticed the defendant. Were you standing there at the house just waiting and watching to see what cars would arrive?
No.
So when you first noticed the defendant you just happened to glance over and see another officer speaking with her?
Correct.
You were asked a lot about her demeanor that day, both when you first interacted with her, taking her over to the van, correct?
Correct.
Did Lori Vallow's behavior stand out to you?
It did.
Why?
So based on what was going on, that we had a homicide, her husband had been shot and killed, her brother was the one who shot and killed her husband, it was inside her home, her children were at least partially present to this event. Her demeanor seemed odd given what was going on at the house that day.
And here's where I'm sure a Lori stan or Lori herself, when she gets access to her pad, it's going to say, grief looks different for everyone. I was stunned. I'm just a nice person, and that's how my attitude is. Well, the problem with that is that your brain, whether you are aware of it or not, is inputting and taking in microfacial movements, many different things that we can't really put a finger on or kind of articulate a lot. But there is something that was completely wrong with her demeanor. And it's not often something you can put into words. It usually activates that little lizard brain, that very instinctual part of your brain that says, look, I don't know what's going on here, but something isn't right, and this could be dangerous for me because we can't quite predict what's going on. Things aren't lining up. She has a very, almost nonchalant cheerleader demeanor. When you have children, I would be worried about my children and everything. So it's not often something you can put into words, but there is a spectrum in how people grieve. I use dark humor. In fact, if you had met me when I was 24, you probably would have been astounded with the levels to which my grave humor can go. And that was just how I processed grief. But it was totally genuine and, within my own character. Had I started acting like a Lori Vallow princess from Disney Reject, that would have been something very, very concerning because that's not how I deal with things. That being said, again, it's often not something you can put into words, but there is something that you can tell is very, very off.
So throughout this time, you're just noting her demeanor, right?
Correct.
You were asked about whether or not you were calm at the scene. Do you recall being asked that on cross?
I believe so.
Had you just seen your husband get shot
No.
inside your own home
No.
by your brother?
No.
You were asked if the other officers at the scene were calm. You recall being asked that?
I do.
Were you aware of any of them having just seen their significant others being shot
No.
by a family member
No.
inside their own home
No.
with their children present?
No.
So would it be difficult to compare the demeanor of the officers and yourself with that of, say, Alex or Tylee or the defendant?
It would be difficult comparison.
Not the same situation.
No.
You were asked a lot about Tylee's demeanor as well. Did you ever see her appearing to be panicked,
No.
overwhelmed with emotions?
No.
And that is the part that of this case that really is something. If I could get Lori alone in a room and with a hazmat suit, a lot of Purell, and maybe a one of those drink cans with just Boone's Farm in it, it would really be interesting to see the way and the dynamic. Lori, I think, was very manipulative with her children. Now, this is all speculation, but I believe that, as kids, as young people, we kind of mirror what our parents do in stressful situations. My mom tends to become, okay, what do we need to do? We need to do this, this, this. And I realize that I mirror that because it's a way to get things done and feel in control of an uncontrollable situation. That being said, maybe Tylee was used to mirroring her mom's emotions. Lori strikes me as a very difficult mother to have, a very condescending, controlling, manipulative, but that sweet, cold manipulation, where you can be sweet as pie and deliver the most hurtful, insane things you can say about a person. But again, with her constant use of scripture, I think she probably was dogmatic and shamed Tylee not only as a mom, but as a spiritual sort of guidance person. I'm sure Tylee never measured up to anything her mother wanted her to do because she wasn't her mother, because she thought, she wanted Tylee to be a little her, and Tylee had her own interests, her own loves, her own, sassiness. And I don't think Lori ever saw her children as people. And what I mean by that is they were props. They were things that, made her a good LDS woman. She was, in her home, providing a safe and beautiful home for her children. She had them in all the stuff. She had an autistic child too. So she very much, I think, liked the sort of I am living up to the, LDS woman of faith, kind of Psalm 31 spiritualness. And I do wonder if they got a female LDS member who really called her on her ish, how she would behave, how long she would be able to maintain this Disney princess condescension, and it wouldn't turn into the real Lori, the monster that was always alive in her, but has always worn this kind of mask of propriety and, morality and spirituality. I do want to see Lori with the mask off. I know that's weird, but if I could do that, if I were, Clarice Starling, I would totally want to get in that mind and look around just for a little bit. I want to get out, be able to Purell. But these are the things that really interest me. What happened in Lori's life that made her like this? What was the instigating incident that gave her this profound, and I do mean profound, like foundational belief in herself that she was, chosen or spiritually ordained for something better? It just seems to be a constant running theme, and that has been the end of Mo playing Clarice Starling. Yeah, JKD Buck, I do wonder about that family, but I don't have the Purell or the time to go through it. I don't know. That family is hella weird. And when I'm talking about those subtle microfacial expressions that tell you to run, my lizard brain is screaming at me. I have tried to watch interviews with the Cox family, and my brain is so much like bad people, scary people, cannot trust, that I can't deal with it. But I am going to try to watch those because I do think that there was an instigate. Look, I'm not a doctorologist. I'm not, Lawrence Fishburne, nor was I cast to play Clarice Starling. But there had to be some foundational either teaching or event or something to where Lori all of her life has thought she was meant for better. She took hook, line, and sinker Chad's, you are a translated being. And in order for them to, or in order for that to take hold so deeply and irrevocably, I feel like there was always this I was meant for better kind of feeling.
Was there anything about her demeanor or your interactions with her that made you feel she needed any type of medical treatment or medication or anything?
No.
Halidol
death
blow dart is
notification,
not a medication. I have
that
checked.
you attempted to make, I'll say. So to understand this, we're both Lori Vallow and Tylee inside the van.
They were inside the CR-288 van.
Okay. Can you describe for us what this van looks like? How is it, like a minivan? What is it?
No, it's a larger, like 10 or 12 passenger vans, big, full size. So the doors open from the side to get into, I think there's like 3 rows of seating. And they use the van to bring services out, but also to transport people, and they have car seats and things like that.
So when you went up to the van, you opened the door?
Correct, the side door to open to get into the rear portion of the van.
And you were with your sergeant at the time?
Correct.
And you asked if Lori would come out with you?
I was trying to get her to come out of the van to talk to her outside of Tylee's presence.
Why did you want to do that?
Again, there's also this part of me that really doesn't get this. Again, I maybe wouldn't feel so strongly about this whole scene being FUBAR beyond belief if I hadn't sort of lived it. And I can tell you that when I had to take my daughter for the memorial that we had, my oldest daughter was about 18 months. And I didn't know how I felt about the whole situation, but when she walked up the stairs and tried to find her dad in his old room, and she asked me in, toddler speech, where daddy? As a mom, it broke my soul in about a gajillion and 12 pieces. Of course, I, expressed it in dark humor. With people that are okay with dark humor. Again, note to people, if you are a person that uses dark humor to get yourself through things, find your dark humor tribe. Do not try it with normies. They will not get it and they will try to lock you up. That being said, Lori is not me. Lori didn't care about the kids. I care about my children and worried for a long time about how this was going to affect them. Now, I will say I am blessed with, my oldest daughter is going to college. She is so smart and wise beyond her years. She seems so incredibly much more smart and put together than I ever was at her age. And I'm so excited to get her to get to spread her wings and not be, oldest daughter of a whole clan of crazy. So I can't wait for that. But a fact that a mother is not worried about her 2 children having experienced this crazy, traumatic, and violent thing is just beyond comprehension to me. It is her break with the kind of contract humanity and our biological legacy of not hurting our children is just incredibly, profoundly discombobulating to me because it is so far away from most parents. Most parents would be like, don't talk to my children, talk to me. Can I talk to you away from my kids? Can we please keep my kids from noticing anything? I don't want anyone speaking to them. This has been a terrible, tragic situation. And she's like, I guess the neighbors aren't going to come to my pool party. Again, ma'am. And then her blind spot, her perceptive glaucoma and myopathy when it comes to how she is perceived is so incredibly profound to me. It's really interesting how just skewed her perception is because she thinks that she's doing a great job. She thinks that everyone has realized she's a martyr because they watched Evan Almighty.
Felt it was more appropriate if I was about to tell somebody that a family member died to deliver it to her. And then typically what we'll try to do is kind of formulate a plan as to how we're going to tell children as to what happened.
But before that, did Lori Vallow tell you something?
She did.
What did she tell you?
She said that she already knew because she was there.
And this was not what you were expecting to hear.
It was not.
You were expecting that she had no idea,
Correct.
that she rolled back up to this house and sees her brother out there but doesn't know what's going on.
Correct.
After you learned that she was there, did you now feel like you wanted to ask her what happened?
Correct. We wanted to, at that point, transition to not just like a death notification and contacting her, but now we're potentially looking at doing witness interviews.
Did you advise her that you wanted to take her to the station to interview her?
I did.
Did you advise her you wanted to interview her daughter?
I did.
And did you in fact ask her to come with you in a different vehicle?
I did.
She agreed to do that?
She did.
Now, how old was Tylee?
16 or 17?
And she was put in a separate room than her mom. Why?
So when you're going to do witness interviews or any interviews, you want to do the interviews separately. You don't want to interview people together. Obviously, even best case scenario, there's going to be some influence. So you want a good recount or statement from somebody that's their own statement. It's what they saw, heard, felt, not influenced by anybody else in the room or participating in like a group interview.
Were you aware when you were conducting this interview with Lori and with Tylee of the amount of time that had occurred from when she had left the house to when 911 was called to when she was eventually interviewed?
Generally, not specific, but I knew the general time.
Initially at the scene, was there a misunderstanding? Well, let me ask you. When you arrived at the scene that morning, did you understand that when the 911 call came in is when the shooting occurred?
So he's watching at 2 times speed, and it does change a few things. I just asked, or I just heard Lori ask, and who released him? And I said, Satan. Only moderately sure that's, oh, no, I added the Satan.
I think that was believed or assumed at the time we got to the scene.
Okay. And was that still your mindset when you were interviewing initially Lori Vallow?
Correct.
So when you started to interview her, you assumed that when that 911 call came in, the shooting had occurred just prior to that.
Correct.
When you were driving Lori back to the police station to FAC for interviews, you again told us about her demeanor. Did that again stick out to you as unusual?
It did.
Why was that?
Again, this incident has unfolded and we're driving and she's just kind of chattering in the car, and given what was going on in the situation and how she was acting, it was just odd to me.
You were asked about, just on cross, whether or not you gave the defendant a specific time when she could come back to the house. Do you recall that?
I believe so.
Did you have any concept of when Detective Coons or Duncan would be finished executing that search warrant on the house?
No, and that's not an assumption we would do.
So you don't have, they don't tell you a timeline like, hey, detective, we'll be done by 3 so they can come in.
No, because in processing a scene, you just don't know. So you wouldn't want to give that kind of time constraint when processing a scene. You're going to go through and very slowly and methodically collect and photograph and process. You're not going to limit a time. We typically try to give them an idea, maybe most of the night, several hours, but I wouldn't tell them a specific time to come back.
And your interactions with Lori, you hadn't even been in the house yet, right?
I had not.
So you have no concept of what the scene's going to be like
Correct.
or how long it might take.
Correct.
When you were interviewing the defendant, is it normal for you to offer drinks to people when they're being interviewed?
Absolutely.
Normal for you to allow them to use their...
That's because of the adrenaline, because according to all expertologists that Lori's has consulted, when you get an adrenaline high and or the gummy kicks in or brownie, look, I don't care, you will get cotton mouth like AF. You just, sticky lips, you're doing that weird kind of the crackle in the mouth thing that makes me want to run away and join a circus. Literally, Mr. Mo knows how much, I think it's called misphonia, but the sound of people chewing, I cannot believe there are channels. If you ever want to Noriega me out of my room, put on one of those ASMR mouth noises, chewing and chomping videos, because I will run out screaming in terror. Well, okay, shuffle out quickly in terror. Mr. Mo knows this, so sometimes he'll eat very close to my ear, and it's like I can't. He knows it. He knows it bothers me. Romance after 15 years, knowing exactly what bothers your partner and doing it right next to them to irritate them because love you.
Restroom,
Yes,
and you did that here just like you normally would?
I did.
Nothing different or unusual in that?
No.
Detective, when you were interviewing the defendant on July 11th, did the defendant tell you that she and Charles argued about the phone prior to Tylee ever becoming involved?
Correct.
Did she tell you that she had initially obtained Charles's phone, and when he asked for it back, she said no?
Correct.
This is before Tylee's there.
That's right.
Does she tell you that she then, in fact, confronts Charles about who he's texting?
Correct.
And that's again before Charles is out there.
Before.
Again, these are things that if you were truly afraid of Charles, if you had a deep down bone terror that most women who are in DV situations and men, it can go both ways. We have seen the stupid that is Sarah Boone. But these are not things you would do. You would not antagonize this person if you were deeply afraid of him. And again, if Lori was going to paint this picture of Charles being controlling, he is the one who's paying for the house. I'm worried about having a shelter for my children. It's not, again, the actions that someone would take if they were deeply afraid. It is the action of an entitled person who knows that Charles is never going to lay hands on her. That's what that is, in my opinion.
Tylee was there.
Before Tylee's there. And she advised you that she still wouldn't give him back his phone, even though he demanded it then.
Correct.
Did she tell you that she was walking away with Charles's phone prior to Tylee coming out while he is still demanding his phone back?
Correct.
So there were multiple occasions that she told you about prior to any bat or gun being involved that she could have just handed the phone back over,
That's correct.
and she did not.
That's correct.
In terms of your interview with the defendant, did you understand all the facts of the case when you interviewed the defendant?
No.
You told us you didn't understand the timeline yet in terms of when the shooting occurred versus when the 911 call occurred, right?
Correct.
So you were unaware of that 47-minute lapse in time.
Correct.
If you had known that, would you have asked about that?
I would have asked about that, yes.
And again, if you are gonna crime, could you not be effing terrible at it? So they put the bat in the wrong hand. They left evidence, or at least Alex did, that Charles was on the ground and no longer a threat when he put the coup de grace in, the second bullet, although, not being stopped by the bamboo t-shirt Kevlar that was there. Then you have this 47 minutes time lapse. Again, I'm looking at the Shanda Vander Ark case because she wants a new trial for stupidity and ridiculousness. I don't know. But it doesn't make sense. Lori could have had a better story. I have said this a gajillion times, but if Lori had been alone, Alex had not been there, she had been the one to pull the trigger. That eliminates another witness that you have to coerce or make sure he's telling the right story. Had she done it when the children were in the car, again, you have less witnesses. If, she was terrified of him, if she did already manufacture these, text messages, But she has her brother there, with no visible injury, a man who used to play minor league baseball with a bat in his hand, and he has like not even a scratch on his head. There is no way. None of this adds up. And you would think if you really wanted to sell this, if you were just a translated being, old JC, Buddy Christ, would have your back and make sure you weren't an absolute reject at it.
When you were interviewing the defendant, you were unaware that she had Charles's phone, correct?
Correct.
If you had known that, would you have asked about that?
I would have asked about that, yes.
When the defendant was talking to you, at one point, she told you that she knew her brother was texting with, or that Charles was texting with her brother Adam. Do you recall that?
Yes, she told me that.
Also, this is knowledge you shouldn't have if you didn't have 47 minutes to go through Charles' phone. You do realize this. I mean, does anyone watch movies for the plot? Which is why Mr. Mo won't watch movies to me, because I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. This is stupid. There is no logic. He hates watching movies with me because I get really irritated when they don't make effing sense because no one in real life would actually act like that. Like, let's take Dune, for example. Now, I haven't read the books mostly because I don't have 47,000 years of my life to waste. But my general understanding of Dune, because I have to understand the story before I go watch the movie, we're going on a tangent. Mr. Mo was peeved at me, okay, because I watched the entire, history of Dune so I could figure this story out. And I was like, wait. So they know they're walking into a trap, and instead of super fortifying and making sure everyone's, here, we got everyone's wives and children and all this stuff, and it can't be exploited. And we know that the emperor and, House Harrigan, the weird fat duke, we know that they're all plotting against us, but we're still going to go here and leave ourselves exposed. Hell, we even caught, an assassin trying to kill Twig Boy, Timothy Omelet, or whatever his name is. I call him Twig Boy. Look, he's no Jake Ryan. Anywho, you know this, and instead of having all of your generals super fortifying everything, double checking and massively taking on security, you're like, YOLO, let's get the Freemen out there and we'll try to get them to be friends with us, or the Fremen. Anywho, it didn't match logic, not to mention the fact that a Buddha Islam. So basically, Frank Herbert had some of the people that went out to the universe. I think it was Buddhism, so a mix of Buddhism and Islam. And I would just like to say that Islam is not a fan of polytheistic religions. So as a foundational point, that makes no sense because they would have not been too cool with the Buddhist. Anywho, sorry for this Dune break. I just did not like any of the logic in that. And the guy turns into a worm. Look, it's not my jam. If you love Dune, I apologize for me massively pooing on your genre. It's the Buddhism thing that got me, because I'm like, no way in hell. That being said, back to the show. And yes, I do.
Understanding
Super
now that
Troopers
she
being
had
one
Charles's
of them.
phone, would you have asked her how she learned about that?
I would have asked her about that, yes.
So when you're doing an interview with her at 9 or 10 in the morning, you didn't know that she'd had time to look into Charles's phone?
Correct.
You learned later that she had the password to get into his phone, right?
Correct.
So when she's telling you things, you're unaware that she has already potentially had the ability to access those.
That's true.
And what she's telling you in her interview contained information about the interaction between her brother Adam and Charles.
Right.
When you interviewed the defendant, were you aware of the days leading up to this, the interaction between Lori Vallow and her brother Alex?
I was not.
You weren't privy to things like iCloud accounts before you interviewed her?
No,
You weren't privy to downloaded cell phones before you interviewed her?
I was not.
You hadn't even been inside the house before you interviewed her.
Correct.
If you had been privy to all of the information in this case, would you have interviewed her differently?
I would have.
Would you have questioned her more?
Yes.
Would you have followed up more?
Yes,
Would you have asked for her phone then?
yes.
When you interviewed Lori Vallow, at that time, were you just going off of what she said because you didn't know the rest of the facts
Correct. It was an initial interview.
to see what she had to tell you?
Correct.
But you had nothing to do to be able to verify or validate anything she told you?
Correct.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
All right, I see we have a few jury questions. I think we're going to have the parties approach for those who are having difficulty with their headsets.
I do like the jury questions, but I think that juries can sometimes be a little confused. Again, like if you're new to watching trials with the sort of foundational witnesses, and they can be a bit confusing. Like, why are we talking to someone who basically just handed something or didn't do the entire investigation? So there might be a lot of questions kind of pertaining to that because it is sort of a whole new procedure.
Was the rent-a-car vehicle ever searched?
I do not believe so, but I'm not certain.
All right. Question form number 12. If the defendant and her daughter were interviewed as witnesses, why were they left with a victim advocate? In other words, were they considered victims or witnesses?
So our victim services section, I introduced Lori to them specifically because there are civilian employees that work within our police department that can help families with death investigations for the issues that come up afterwards and kind of navigating that process. So although they might not be classified under like state law as victims, our victim services section will often help our families with like specific crisis type events and navigating that process. So we use them quite a bit in our death investigations.
All right, on question form number 13, did Lori express concerns about police talking with Tylee at the time of the interview?
She did not.
Does law enforcement have to advise interviewees they are being audio and or video recorded?
They do not. There is no expectation of privacy within a police station.
All right, are there any further juror questions at this time? Not seeing any. Would the defendant like a follow-up on those juror questions?
No, Your Honor.
State?
Just briefly, with regards to introducing Lori entirely to your victim services, were you trying to provide whatever services might be necessary due to the fact that her husband had been killed?
Correct.
And what you assumed at that point was Tylee's dad or stepdad had been killed?
Correct.
And again, this is all prior to you learning more about this case?
Correct.
No other questions, Your Honor.
All right, you can step down. The state can call its next witness.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going back because that is, I love this judge because of his myriad and wonderful kind of what am I doing with my life faces. So we are totally going to watch that again because
Thank you.
right here is the face of I went to law school. I was a good lawyer. I became a judge, and I have to deal with this heifer. Good morning, Robert James. But let's see who the next witness is. Hopefully we can get them done by my noon lunch break requirement. I am making tacos even though it's Wednesday.
Detective Ariel Werther. I may need to get some, there'll be a PowerPoint that he's going to do.
All right, sir, come on up. You're going to stand right here and be sworn in.
Ariel, A-R-I-E-L, Werther, W-E-R-T-H-E-R.
You do solemnly swear that
So this is probably going to be the detective who did all the digital forensics, went through all the iClouds and uClouds and all of the technological stuff that I don't understand. And he has a PowerPoint, so yippee! We get to see Lori in her natural environment of talking to her boyfriend brother. Ugh.
One you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
All right, have a seat up here to my left.
Holy cow, they have the same haircut. Listen, between the judge and the witness, the pomade supply is low in Arizona. Get your pomade quickly if you need it. Not saying it doesn't look good on both of them. I'm just saying you are SOL if you need some male styling products. What in the zoot suit is this? That tie being slightly off is bothering me so much. But he does look very dapper.
Should we just do that now?
This might be a good time, Your Honor, just so I can get this set up and hooked
All right,
to-
why don't we have the jury go to the jury room for a short break?
Technical difficulties, torknical difficulties.
We did a sidebar this morning at 10:42 a.m. At that sidebar, the defendant indicated she wanted to question the witness further regarding how many times the witness had observed her and her demeanor, which would necessitate the witness talking about observing her here in this trial, observing her on July 11th of 2019, as well as the trial in Idaho, and possible viewing of interviews or social media posts. I advised the defendant that this is probably not a door she wants to open because the setting of those interviews would be relevant. For example, someone appearing in court intuitively might behave better than someone who's not appearing in court or in a trial. And the defendant said she would move on from that area. Is that an accurate recitation of the sidebar from the state's perspective?
Yes, Your Honor.
From the defendant's perspective?
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine.
All right, and then we did another sidebar regarding jury questions at 11:01 a.m. The first question, juror question number 10, as a detective, does your subconscious mind use a witness demeanor as any type of evidence? The parties agreed with me that that's probably not an appropriate question to ask, so it was not asked. Juror form question number 11 was asked. That was the question as to whether the rental car was ever searched. Juror question 12 was also asked I should mention, by agreement of the parties. And this was the question if the defendant and her daughter were interviewed as witnesses, and the explanation between being interviewed or considered a victim versus a witness, which the witness answered. Question form 13 had 4 questions on it. The first question was not asked.
Thank you, Unbalanced Equation, for the super chat. And I keep getting error, try again, and now I'm a sinner. Look, the gods of technicalology and the Harry Potter magic that makes my computer run, they are fickle and mercurial, and we never know when we please them or don't. YouTube is about the same. Thank you so very much, at least in my opinion. But I'm never probably going to be a hacker or a coder or anyone very, very comfortable with technology, despite what I do for a semi-profitable hobby / hopefully a business one day.
Did Lori ever ask for an attorney during interviews of her and Ty Lee? The second question, did Lori express concerns about police talking with Ty Lee at the time of the interview? Neither side objected to that question, so it was asked. Question number 3 on form 13, do police need parental consent to speak with a minor even if being treated as a witness? Which the answer really is it depends, but it calls for a legal conclusion too for that witness. The state objected to it, the defendant did not. I didn't think it would be helpful with the jury in deciding any issue that's at fact in this case, so it was not asked. And then the fourth question on that form number 13, does law enforcement have to advise interviewees they are being audio and video recorded? Neither side objected to that, and that question was asked. Is that an accurate representation of the sidebar we had at 11:01
Yes, Your Honor.
from the defense perspective?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so let's give the court reporter a break. We'll resume soon, probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we'll push through to noon or maybe a few minutes after, depending on where we're at. Do you have everything set up now?
I would like to just I have to make sure it's working.
All right, we'll be at recess on a break for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I do love this judge going through and putting everything on record, again, barring Lori from any sort of I had legal shenanigans. So, gosh, he looks so deeply uncomfortable. I don't know what about it. His presentation makes me feel like he's deeply, deeply an inside cat and not very comfortable being on stand. But I don't think anyone's really comfortable being on stand.
Hello, my name is Ariel Werther, and I work for the Chandler Police Department as a detective.
How long have you worked for the Chandler Police Department?
I've worked for Chandler Police Department since 2008. I did not become a sworn law enforcement officer until 2011. I've worked with them continuously since then. They're the only law enforcement agency I've ever worked for.
Can you tell us sort of the different areas you have worked and where you currently work?
So initially from 2008 to 2010, I was a police dispatcher. So if you called 911, I might be the person who answered, or I might be the person sending the officers and keeping track of where they were. And then in 2010, I went to the Arizona Law Enforcement Academy, graduating in 2011 as a sworn officer, returning to Chandler in the capacity as an officer. I worked as a patrol officer until, well, technically 2016, but the last 2 years of that I was assigned as a field training officer, which means that if you were a new officer out of the academy or somebody going back to the road from specialty, you might ride with me for a while as I reoriented you to how things are done on the road. And then after doing that, I moved to the Special Victims Unit, primarily focused on investigating sex crimes from 2016 to 2020. And in 2020 and until now, I've been assigned to the Robbery Homicide Unit.
When you were with the Special Victims Unit, did you ever work with the Robbery Homicide Unit?
I did. In fact, from fairly early on, I was aware that this was something that I wanted to do eventually. So I made that known, and particularly working in detectives under the umbrella of persons crimes. You have your sex crimes, family crimes, robbery homicide units, and they all tend to work rather close together. They get to know one another, and I made it known that I had an interest in testing when they had their next opening. So I did that in late 2019 and began my assignment in 2020. So leading up to that, it was something where if I had the opportunity to work with that team, I would do so.
Can you talk to us, have you ever had any type of training in dealing with cell phones and cell phone GPS data?
Yes, I've had extensive training, much of it more recently. It's something that I certainly became aware of, and I have an interest in technology and what it can be used for in investigations. And so there were areas that I was aware of, particularly working in the Special Victims Unit, so starting from about 2016 on. It was in 2022 that I took my first 40-hour class on the proper interpretation, of cell phone records, specifically that might come from the provider. There's an important distinction between the location data that might be found on one's phone versus the data that a provider stores about our devices that can also be used to infer the location of the device. I took a 40-hour class primarily on that subject.
Okay, I know this is ADHD and squirrel brain, but is anyone hearing, oh my gosh, what is the name of the brother in Everyone Loves Raymond? He has that very particular voice. That's all I'm hearing. Well, everybody loves Raymond. I know it's squirrel, but I cannot stop thinking about it, so now it's in your brain too.
In 2022. And then in 2023, I took a 40-hour class leading to eventually becoming a subject matter expert in that area.
Have you previously testified in court about cell phone GPS data?
I have.
Have you previously testified in court about mapping GPS data recovered from cell phones?
I have.
In July of 2019, were you still in the Special Victims Unit?
Yes, I was.
And did you become involved in a shooting that occurred on July 11th of 2019 at 5531 South Four Peaks Avenue in Chandler?
I did.
How did you get involved in that?
I believe I was downstairs where we all work in a similar area and became aware that a shooting had occurred, that it appeared that one person was deceased, and I volunteered to come along. My capacity was more to shadow, to learn about how these investigations are conducted with the aim of testing. That's something that's best practice to do if you want to test for a unit. You ought to go out and see how the job is done.
So when you initially, did you go out to the scene?
I did.
And when you initially out there, who did you shadow at first?
Initially, I was at the scene with Detective Coons. I was present during the scene investigation, though again, as someone who was observing, I didn't personally impound anything or directly conduct the scene investigation myself.
Okay. At some point, as you are shadowing these, were you given different requests to help the detectives who are working this case?
Yes, although I'd say the extent to which I started going out and doing things, assigned tasks, really began the day after, on Friday the 12th.
So on Friday, July 12th, 2019, did you become aware that no one had obtained contact information for J.J. Vallow?
That's right.
And did you offer to reach out to Lori Vallow to get that information?
I did.
Why did you need that information?
To have a complete and thorough police report, it's best practice to have proper documentation, name, date of birth, basic demographic information for all the people who are involved in a case, however they might be involved. Given the information we had at that time, he's someone who ought to be listed in the report.
Okay. Was he also known to be the son of the deceased victim?
Yes, that's right.
On the 11th, had you had any contact with Lori Vallow?
I did not have any contact on the 11th.
Okay. On July 12th, after you offered to get that contact information, did you make contact with Lori Vallow?
I did.
Did you see her or call her?
I called her at first.
And was that call recorded?
That call was audio recorded, yes.
When you spoke with Ms. Vallow, did you obtain the contact information for J.J. Vallow?
Yes.
Did you learn from her where J.J. went to school?
Yes.
Did you confirm that she had gone to Burger King before taking J.J. to his school?
Yes.
Did you at some point during that conversation with Ms. Vallow learn that Charles Vallow was staying at the True Hilton Hotel?
Yes.
Prior to this, had you known that he was where he was staying?
I don't think I had any information either way.
Okay. So as someone who was separate, did you have any idea where Charles was, whether he was staying at the house or elsewhere prior to this?
I didn't have that information, no.
So you just learned this during your conversation when you're trying to get JJ's information?
Correct.
Did Ms. Vallow advise you that she was in possession of Charles Vallow's hotel room key?
She did.
Did she advise where she had found that?
In his wallet, I believe.
So you learned that she had Charles Vallow's wallet.
Yeah, that's a little sus. Again, we have seen cases, heartbreakingly in the Theodore Edgecombe case, where the wife, after seeing her husband taken from her, like right in front of her eyes, in an acute grief reaction, took his wallet because she just wanted to be next to something he had. So there are sort of those things, but I think it was much more mercenary for Lori, and by mercenary, I mean financially motivated. She was probably buying her, wedding dress and malachite rings from Amazon during that time with Charles's credit card, I'm sure.
That's what she said.
And that she then had a room key for him to True Hilton Hotel.
Correct.
Did you advise her that you would talk to the case agent and let her know who would go get that?
Yes.
After you spoke with Lori Vallow on the phone, did you offer to go out to the Burger King to see if you could obtain any video from there?
I did.
And when you are helping in this aspect of the case, were you aware at that time when the 911 call had been placed?
I was.
And when was that?
That was at 8:36 in the morning.
So you knew as you went out to Burger King that the 911 call was July 11th, 2019 at 8:36 a.m.
Yes, that's correct.
And were you aware when you went out to the Burger King of when the police had arrived at the scene?
Yes.
And was that within a few minutes around 8:41 or 8:42 a.m.?
Yes, that's about right.
And were you aware prior to going out there of when Lori Vallow had been shown or seen on body cam back at 5531 South Four Peaks?
I was.
And was that the 8:48 a.m.?
Yes, that's right.
So all of this is kind of the timeline you're considering when you're going out to Burger King.
Correct.
So when you went out there, were you aware of that? I guess when you went out to Burger King, were you also under an understanding that Lori Vallow had said she was at the house when Charles Vallow was shot?
That was my understanding, yes.
So did all of that play into when you would assume the timing of her arriving at Burger King?
It did.
So sometime after 8:36 is what you're expecting?
To some extent. I was aware that there's a little bit of a logistical difficulty in the question of how one could leave at 8:36 or at just after, and then arrive back by 8:48, knowing the distances and knowing the city of Chandler like I do. So because of that, knowing that it was clearly the case that she was there at 8:48 because she was on officer's body-worn video, then I knew that there was some chance I would find that the video was in fact prior to the 911 call, because otherwise the distances and the travel didn't seem quite right.
So
Sir, are you aware that Lori is transmogrified into a celestial, trilestial, and try me again patience deity? Are you unaware that she could have teleported herself to Burger King, gotten those, chicken fries and her adrenaline-induced, water consumption bottle? Are you not aware of these facts? Please, Lori, ask the question. Please, I need it in my life.
you see this 12-minute time from when 911 is called to when she arrives back, and you're thinking that there's no way to go to Burger King and drop a kid off at school and get back?
Correct. One of the other things that I was trying to establish when I called her is where she had taken him to school, and to confirm that we hadn't misunderstood about the Burger King event happening after the shooting. Because if we hadn't misunderstood, and then learning where the school is approximately 7 miles away from the house. So the idea that one could in 12 minutes go to a Burger King, get their order, drive 7 miles one way, 7 miles back, and arrive in that amount of time seemed very unlikely to me.
So you're now going to Burger King to try to figure out when she actually went there?
Correct.
When you are going to the Burger King, were you aware of what vehicle she was driving?
I was.
Was that, again, body cam had shown what vehicle she had come in?
That's correct.
And was that a red Kia Sorento?
That's right.
So let me ask you this. Did you go to a Burger King over at 2865 East Ocotillo Road in Chandler?
I did.
How did you know to go to that one?
I chose that one because it was the closest one, and I wanted to make that logical assumption that that's probably where someone would go first, and then see if I found evidence there that that was the correct one.
All right, so you weren't given that information. You're just trying to figure out which Burger King it was.
Correct.
Did you ask to see if they had surveillance video from the morning of July 11th?
I did.
So you're there on July 12th?
Yes.
When you look at surveillance video at a place like a Burger King, do you ever verify that the date timestamp on that video is accurate?
I do. We very commonly find that at various places, the level of accuracy to their date and timestamps can be exactly right, or they can be off by a significant margin. So the best practice, and what I did in this case, is I will ask to see their live view, and the live view typically has a timestamp, as it did in this case, and then I will use my cell phone, my work cell phone's location time, or my work cell phone's time. And if they match up, then to me that indicates that the timestamp is probably relatively reliable, particularly if I'm there just the day after the video that I'm looking for.
In this case, was the date timestamp correct for that Burger King?
Yes, that's right.
Did you then ask to watch the surveillance video from that morning of July 11th?
I did.
And as you were watching it, did you see a red SUV and a person that appeared to be Lori Vallow going through the drive-thru?
I did.
Do you recall about what time you saw that happen?
This man's outfit and hair are tripping me out because I keep thinking he's going to go be talking to, Mr. Roosevelt about those, nasty Japanese that just attacked us. Maybe it's because yesterday was not so great health-wise, so I watched a lot of, I am going to be honest with y'all, I am not a Hallmark lady. I am a WW2 documentary connoisseur. I love all of them. So his whole general outfit is, I keep thinking he's going to go talk to, General Eisenhower in a couple minutes. That being said, welcome to the squirrels that are involved in Mo's brain. This is more, I love that streaming is more group therapy for me, only you guys are my unfortunate hostages, and I'm just vomiting like weird things that I think at you. Anywho, welcome to my plan for fame.
I want to say the timestamp on that is around 7:20 something.
Is it 7:54?
7:54. That is probably correct, yes.
So if you're looking at a timestamp at 7:54 and you know the 911 call is at 8:36, are you already starting to wonder what's going on here?
Yes, this was one of the concerns that led us to pursue this avenue of investigation.
And you're aware that Lori Vallow had
Well, JKD Buck, I definitely appreciate your dad's service and and I appreciate your, sensitivity that your stepdad probably didn't want to watch all of the, video evidence of all of that. But thank him so much for his service, even if it's in prayers up to heaven. Look, that's what I believe. If you believe something different, that is totally okay. Do whatever you do. But I really appreciate these veterans. And on an odd tangenty note, I am worried that we're losing all of this very, very, important history because we have boiled it down to Mr. H with the dumb mustache bad. And, that's about it. It's like we have forgotten these very intricate stories, these sort of, it's never that, black and white, how all of the nuances played, how the end of the war set up the Cold War. We are losing all these very, very important historical lessons. And we've boiled it down to this sort of parody of, Mr. Hankety Clankety Bad and, Pearl Harbor. And I get that those are kind of points, but we're losing these intrinsic stories and the humanity and how our grandparents and great-grandparents sacrificed so much, lived on rations. Some, my UK listeners lived through the Blitz, lived through rations if you were even on the Axis side, and much more rationing, especially if you were on the Soviet side. We're losing all of these things. And it's so incredibly scary to me that in less than 100 years, we are losing part of our history because we've wanted it boiled down. We want simple answers. We want simple things. And the truth is, history is not like that. Okay, I'm going to be done uber nerding about history, but I think that there are some of the things, and I was really disappointed. World War II in Color is a great documentary series for the most part. But because of YouTube censorship, they have blurred out a lot of things. And I can think of nothing more intrinsically ridiculous than having a documentary about the horrors of, what happened to people in Germany that were not liked. I cannot believe I have to go this far to avoid saying what I'm going to say. But to have blurred out on a documentary that's like, we should not forget, to blur out these victims is just a crime in and of itself, and stupid censorship. Hey, YouTube, these are about human dumpster people doing terrible things to innocent victims. Yes, there are going to be pictures that are going to be terrible. There are going to be things that you don't want to see. But in order for it to not happen again, we have to see. So how about you just take all of the advertisers that aren't for history-specific things off of those videos, and then we can watch them normally. Such a butt monkey move. I was so irritated yesterday. Now, I wasn't irritated enough to leave a ranty comment because it's YouTube terms of service. What are you going to do? But it does seem so anathema to the message of what the documentary was supposed to be talking about that it was such a disconnect that I could not kind of get my way through it. And that's why his suit is bothering me now. I love the whole look. He is just dapper. So
Told Detective Inclan that she had left right after Charles was shot.
That is what I was told.
So if she left right after he was shot, she somehow was already at Burger King more than 40 minutes.
I'm so sorry, but I'm glad he
after
got it
the
off his
shooting
chest.
before the 911 call.
Correct.
Did you look at various channels from that surveillance video at Burger King?
I did.
And did you also ask to obtain a receipt from her purchase?
I did.
If I can have my paralegal approach with.
Did you get chicken fries? And if so, what dipping sauce for investigative purposes?
217 and 218.
Thank you.
We're looking at 217 and 218. Do those contain affidavits from Burger King authenticating both the recording and the receipt?
They do.
And is that from the Burger King that you went to obtain that video and that receipt?
It is.
The state will move to admit 217 and 218.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
217 and 218 are admitted.
Now, just so we know, although we have the video right there and that's been admitted, did you create a PowerPoint we're going to get to in a bit that actually includes the relevant portions of that video in it?
I did.
Okay. So ultimately, we have 7:54-ish that you see Lori Vallow going through the Burger King. Were you then ever asked to meet with Lori Vallow to get that hotel key, still on the 12th here?
Yes, that's correct.
Where did you meet with her?
I met with her at the Four Peaks house.
Okay. Do you recall meeting with her there around 2:10 in the afternoon on July 12th?
Yes, that's right.
Did she provide you with a key card to a hotel, or what looked like a key card to a hotel?
She did.
Do you see that person
Sir.
who gave you Charles?
Move the mic. Yeah, the mic is like on one of these things. Now it's not going to move as much, but move the mic so you don't have to do this thing. Now I do like that he's canted kind of 45. Okay, I'm going straight to hell for saying this, but one of his eyes goes just a slight bit wonky when he's like looking to the side, and it's creeping me out. And I know he has no, look, this is why I'm going to hell, because he has no control over this. This is just something, everybody has weird quirks, but it is sort of like, oh, it's doing it again. Because my inner 5-year-old who has no tact is just being a butthole right now. And Wolfram, have a lovely lunch. We are going to try to get through at least this witness before we take a break today. So let's continue. And Mo, stop talking about this man.
Vallow's key card in the courtroom today?
I do.
And can you point her out and identify what she's wearing?
Yes. She's sitting at the defense table.
She's the crazy
wearing a
bitch
black,
over there.
blazer.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
It shall.
Now, at this time, you had already watched the Burger King video that we've discussed. Did she appear to be the same person you saw driving that red Kia Sorento?
Yes, that's correct.
And when you went to the residence at 5531 South Four Peaks, did you see a red Kia Sorento at that residence?
I did.
And did that have Colorado license plates of BRS 084?
It did.
Did that appear to match the vehicle you also saw going through the drive-thru of that Burger King?
It did.
When you got the key card, did you then meet up with Detective Moffett to go to the hotel?
Correct.
And was that the True Hilton at 1950 South Santan Village Parkway in Gilbert?
Yes.
When you went there, were you able to verify that that's where Charles Vallow was staying?
Yes, I believe Detective Moffett spoke to them, but then we were directed to a room. To a room.
So were you present with Detective Moffett during that?
I was present, yes.
Okay. And so you were provided with a room number where he was staying?
Yes,
And were you provided, well, you had a room key already to get in there?
correct.
Did you, while you were there or later, obtain both an affidavit and records showing that Charles Vallow had stayed at that hotel?
Yes.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 219.
Thank you.
Does 219 contain an affidavit authenticating the reservation and room information for Charles Vallow at that True Hilton Hotel?
It does.
And that's the hotel you had gone to with the key card that you got from the defendant?
Yes, that's correct.
The state will move to admit, and I forget what number that is that 219? Sorry.
This is 219.
State will move to admit 219.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
219 is admitted.
And if I can publish that,
Go
we
ahead.
all know. Thank you.
We get to see Lori ordering chicken fries and a Sprite and then some water to reduce the adrenaline cotton mouth. The twists and turns on this trial are just amazing.
Okay. So just pull out a little. We see this is from Exhibit 219, the True Hilton at 1950 South Santan.
Yes.
And did this show that Charles Vallow arrived on the 10th and was supposed to leave on the 13th?
Yes, that's correct.
And then were you also provided with information that this was Charles Vallow's room?
Yes, that's right.
Did you and Detective Moffett go into room 127?
We did.
And when you went in there, what was inside?
There were items that I understood to belong to Mr. Vallow. That was our primary reason for being there, was to secure them. A backpack, 2 suitcases, I believe, at least 1 laptop computer. I assisted in gathering these up and impounding them.
Okay. So all of those items were brought to the Chandler Police Department and impounded.
That's right.
Okay. After you had gone to the True Hilton Hotel, did you also learn that the defendant had told Detective Enclam that she had stopped at a Walgreens to buy some flip-flops?
Initially, I was told at CVS, whether I misunderstood or there was a miscommunication. I initially believed it was a CVS.
So did you try to locate?
Look, let's be real. It's like a symbiotic relationship. For every Walgreens that goes in, a CVS will be on the other side of the street. So honestly, that's a mix-up that I make all the time. I'm like, oh crap, which one is it? It's the Walgreens, not the CVS. So, I mean, I don't know if there's like in both of their particular contracts, a Walgreens and a CVS must be located directly catacorner or kitty corner to each other. But that is what I've noticed every day or everywhere I've gone. If there's a Walgreens, there is not a CVS somewhere close. So I'll give her that.
A CVS in the generic area that you're looking at of the Burger King and the school?
I did. I tried actually 7 different CVS locations trying to locate video and wasn't able to.
So at that point, you were unable to verify that initially.
Correct.
Were you then asked to review the GPS data that was extracted from Charles Vallow's cell phone?
I was.
Did you have anything to do with extracting the data from his cell phone?
I did not.
Can you talk to us about this GPS data that's part of this extraction? Like, do all cell phones give us GPS data?
As an end user and the person who doesn't do the extraction, depending on a particular user's settings, particularly if we're talking about smartphones, phones equipped with a GPS module and where that GPS module is working, they may record the GPS location of the device for various reasons, depending on the settings. I, for example, keep my GPS location off, so you would not expect to find very many GPS recorded locations on my device. Many people keep them on. I find it's quite common. If so, then the people in the computer forensics unit are able to extract data from the phone to include logged GPS locations, and then can produce that in a report, which as an end user, I can view the latitude, longitude that was recorded by the device for one reason or another, and the date and time that it was recorded by the device. And that gives us GPS locations to look at for where the device may have been.
So for Charles Vallow's phone, were you, through that extraction, provided with, I'll call it ongoing GPS data location for his phone on July 11th?
Yes, so there.
Look, he's a snappy dresser. He keeps his location off. And if he didn't have a wedding ring, in a couple 10 years, I have a daughter just for you. However, it looks like you're married, so nix that. And I hope you have a happy, happy marriage for the rest of your life, sir. Snappy dresser. Although I am glad I'm not married to you and have to deal with all the ironing, because that is not something I'm good at whatsoever.
There were GPS locations recorded on the device for July 11th, which was the time period of interest, and I was able to look at those.
Okay. So did you look and see if there were GPS location device information on the phone for other dates as well?
I did not do that.
You're just looking at the date of this shooting.
Correct.
And when we talk about the device, so this is telling you not who has the device, just where the device is.
That's right.
When you were looking at that GPS data from the extraction of Charles Vallow's phone, did you discover that Lori Vallow may have actually gone to a Walgreens?
I did.
Based upon looking at that information, did you find an address at 785 South Cooper Road that corresponded to a Walgreens where you saw the device at around 8:15 a.m. on July 11th?
I did.
Based upon seeing that GPS data, did you go to that Walgreens?
Yes, I initially called. I eventually went.
After going to 7 CVS, you decided to call?
I decided to call.
And when you called, did you learn that they did in fact Well, what did you do? How did they know what you're even looking for?
I called, asked to speak to a manager, as I will often do in things like this, and said, I don't tell them specifically why, but I'm looking to see if a person came through, and I provide a general description of that person and what it is that they may have purchased. Usually that's enough. That's what I did in this case. That's enough for them to find if they do or don't have that transaction on video. That's what I did.
So you have the time and the date, the 8:15 and July 11th, and you just give them a description and see if they can find anything that matches?
Correct.
Did they advise you they did?
They did.
Did you go to that Walgreens and obtain a copy of that surveillance footage
I did.
from multiple cameras?
Correct.
Did you also obtain a copy of the receipt of her purchase?
I did.
My paralegal can approach with 216. And so looking at 216, do you see an affidavit for that Walgreens that you contacted regarding obtaining both the surveillance video and the receipt, as well as a copy of the receipt and the video itself?
I do.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 216.
You objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
216 is admitted.
And if I can publish the receipt portion. So for this receipt, it advises that at 8:19, there was a purchase for 2 different pairs of flip-flops.
Yes.
Okay. And that corresponded to what you observed on the video that is in this exhibit as well?
Yes. That's
Oh my God, I'm already predicting it. So I'm going to play Miss Cleo. But Lori's going to ask, were you aware that I ran out with no shoes on, so I had to buy flip-flops? Are you aware that Charles was chasing me? I mean, that's the kind of question I'm expecting her to ask. I don't know why I went Brooklyn with that accent, but there you go.
correct.
In watching this video, did you recognize the person making that purchase?
I did.
And who did you recognize that to be?
I recognized Ms. Lori Vallow, at the time now Ms. Daybell, from having seen the body-worn video and also having met her in person.
Okay. And the video that you obtained here, did you also incorporate that into a PowerPoint presentation that you created showing the GPS data location from July 11th of 2019?
I did.
Well, let me ask you, so did you create a PowerPoint presentation of the GPS data from Charles Vallow's cell phone for July 11th of 2019?
I did.
When you were creating this PowerPoint, did you use any phone records for other individuals such as Lori Vallow?
I did.
Oh, Lord, it's not going to work. She's as good at
As,
technology as I am.
Cell phone records, and I think you talked to us about the difference here, and cell tower data that was provided to you by the providers, and by providers, I mean like a T-Mobile or an AT&T.
Those records were provided to Chandler Police Department, not to me directly. I later obtained copies that I used to incorporate in my presentation.
So were you aware of search warrants that were issued to obtain cell phone records to include cell tower data for several different individuals?
Yes.
So in your PowerPoint presentation, did you utilize GPS data that was for Lori Vallow's Verizon cell phone with a phone number of 808-755-5452?
One minor clarification, I wouldn't
Sure.
call it GPS data particularly. There's location
Cell tower
data,
data.
correct, but not specifically derived via GPS, as was the data from Mr. Vallow's phone.
And if I can have Exhibit 222. In Exhibit 222, do we see both an affidavit authenticating Lori Vallow's Verizon cell phone records for that 808-755-5452? Thumb drive of all of the phone records.
Yes, it does.
And does it also include some printouts from those records themselves?
Yes, it does.
State will move to admit 222 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
222 is admitted.
Did you utilize then some of the cell tower data that was provided by Verizon in those records for Lori Vallow's cell phone in your PowerPoint presentation?
I did.
Did you also become aware of the police executing a search warrant for another cell phone associated to Lori Vallow with T-Mobile for 480-692-9562?
Yes.
Were you
Music.
provided with those records so that you could also look at the cell tower usage of that phone on July 11th?
Yes.
If my paralegal can approach with 220? Looking at Exhibit 220, is there an affidavit in there from T-Mobile
Yes, there is.
related to, again, Lori Vallow? 480.
Stop walking away from the microphone.
Does it also include a thumb drive of all the records in there,
It does.
as well as some of the records printed out?
Yes, it does.
The state will move to admit Exhibit 220.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
220 is admitted.
If I can just do one more. before we-
Go ahead.
Were you also made aware that search warrants were executed to obtain Verizon cell phone records for Alexander Cox for a phone number of 480? Did you utilize those records and the cell tower data that was part of them in your PowerPoint presentation for July 11th of 2019?
Yes.
And if I can have my paralegal approach with 221. Looking at 221, do you see an affidavit there from Verizon for the Verizon cell phone records for 480-310-9120?
I see an affidavit, but I see this is the number ending 5452.
And if you can look at that, is there a second affidavit in there?
Yes, this does include 9120, but I saw in the envelope here, it lists the
And
other
there's,
number.
perfect. So there's an affidavit in there for the
Wait a minute. Be still my heart. An investigator making sure everything is, up to date, current, and all of the exhibits are correct, instead of Yuri Buchanan showing us the same damn shoe in the Karen Reed case. I think I might be verklempt.
9120 number
There is.
associated with Alexander Cox.
Yes.
And there's also a thumb drive in there of all the phone records associated with, again, that number 480-310-9120.
Yes.
And those were, again, records that you utilized in creating your PowerPoint for
Yes.
July 11th. The state will move to admit Exhibit 221.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
221 is admitted.
Now, you talked to us earlier about your training experience in using GPS data and cell tower data, correct?
Yes.
When you are looking at either GPS data from a cell phone or cell tower data from a provider, do you try to verify the accuracy of that information by comparing it to other sources?
Absolutely.
For instance, you told us that you were using the GPS data from Charles Vallow's cell phone, and you went to Burger King.
Correct.
And were you looking at the times to see if the GPS data and time matched what you saw in that video?
Yes, with one slight correction. I went to the Burger King initially because it was the closest one. Later, when I was given the GPS data, I looked and saw that it did, in fact, accord to the Burger King. And then I went to the Walgreens because of what I had seen in the GPS data. In either direction that you do that in, essentially what I'm trying to do is make sure just because a device has logged a location at a particular date and time doesn't have to mean it was there. The device could be wrong.
Corroborating locations and making sure that there's independent evidence that, goes back to the phone, and you didn't use the word infotainment, I might cry with happiness.
It could have been changed in some way. One of the things that we do to make sure that we are relying on good data only is to find other means of corroborating if the device was apparently at that location.
Thank you. So I have this plugged in here, if I can just admit it, but did you provide the state with Exhibit 209, that is a thumb drive of your PowerPoint printer?
Yes.
Did you sign, and I think put your badge number on the back of it?
Yes, that's correct.
And that's something you created that we've talked about, incorporating all of these different records that we've discussed.
That's correct.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 209 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
209 is admitted.
Might be a good time to break
Right.
before we start with this.
All right, let's take our noon recess. I'll remind the jury of the admonition. We'll resume with the jury at 1:30 p.m.
All rise for the jury.
All right, let's skip through this. I am determined to get this. Well, let's see how long after lunch break this goes. Because if he's on for a good, okay. We are going to stop the stream here for today. I am going to be working on part 2 and hopefully finishing up the 52-page affidavit in the James Craig case. He is the dentist who is accused of putting potassium cyanide in his wife's protein shakes because he was, on the side boffing an orthodontist. And it also involves the LDS Church. So I don't know what's going on here, but it's a weird tangenty thing. Anywho, that is a very, very, just the weirdest thing I've ever seen as far as the affidavit and how just absolutely terrible at criming he is. Well, fair point. But he was getting ready to file for bankruptcy, so I doubt that her life insurance was going to help him that much. That being said, he was marrying an orthodontist, so there you go. Anyhoozle, as always, thank you for joining the Petty Express, watching these trials with you, speeding through them. It's fun. I am going to be on the lookout for the the Dentist of Death trial, if they're streaming it. Several places have said they're streaming it, but I can't find it. So I am on the lookout for that. But the affidavit is just insane. So going through that and a couple more newsy news videos just to do that. And then I will be on Thursday. I have to go check the time. I will be hanging out with Publicly Buzzed. He is awesome. And we will be talking all the true crime shenanigans. So that will be super fun. And you can hang out with me there. I think I have done all the grifting I need to, except for Mornings with Mo. If you don't have, an appointment with Newsy News at 8 a.m., where have you been? I give you headline true crimes and, well, all the absurd. So there you go. For your non-political, non-craziness, but weird kind of news, I am your only source at 8 a.m. I get you in and out before trials start generally. So have a great day. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. But have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat. Bye, you guys.